And I think I can see how all the pieces fit together. Like you're your own boss. You're self-employed, physically strong, capable, competent. Been through the Marine Corps. Like, no, I have the right to choose to raise my daughter this way
Right.
and to live. And I think a lot of liberals would say that's brainwashing or something like that, as if the values exactly. Yeah, I mean, I shrug my shoulders too. But like as if those values.
Right?
What's that? Yeah, exactly. Like, tell me what you really think.
Deal with
So,
it.
but I mean, there's a way in which, like, I guess they would be assuming the center in that way. Like you are some sort of radical extremist.
Right.
Like, well, no, like you guys are the radical extremists.
Right.
Right.
There's another component to that, Will, that's incredibly important is, when I was dating my wife, I asked her all the questions, right? Because I wanted to make sure she would be on the same page.
Okay.
Education, vaccinations, raw milk,
yeah,
all this stuff. And she was on board. So she got to come aboard. Right. But, we don't have any disagreements with that because the vetting process, I asked her the important questions that I needed the answers to know whether she would be along with me for that, or if she would say, no, how dare you? My daughter will, or my kids will, do all the normie stuff. And we're going to go to the doctor and get, the full schedule, and we're going to eat, white bread and all that, public school and all that stuff. So everybody does that. It's, you select for the outcomes you want.
And select for the outcomes you want and define your terms. Like these are the terms under which I'm going to marry somebody. These are my values. This is what I believe.
That's very masculine and patriarchal and fascist.
You say these like these are bad things.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it makes me think of your father being in the John Birch Society, and hearing all this makes me realize how far communism has traveled. Because if you think of communism as a couple different things, communism is a two-tier society. Right. You have the public, right, the masses, and then you have the elites, and that's it, right? And the elites have one set of values, and the masses have another set of values. That's two-tier society.
But then stores to shop from, and restaurants to eat in, and cars to ride in, and clothes to wear. The party elite could get Levi's shipped into Moscow in the 70s and 80s when no one else could, right?
That's
because they were more equal than the rest of the proletariat.
That's right. Yeah. And when I was in China, traveling through, I actually met a Communist Party member, right? And I could see, I wasn't exactly sure what it was at the time. He was just really keen to talk to me. He was super drunk and was ranting at me in Chinese for like a couple hours, but I was like, okay, fine. Like he's enjoying getting drunk and talking at me. So I'm like, I'm nodding and smiling along. And I remembered at the start of that interaction, he had showed me a card. And I was like, okay, that's your ID. And I remembered later, like, oh, he was probably showing me his Communist Party membership card.
Card-carrying member of the Communist Party of China.
That's right. And that man walked around that room in China differently than I'd ever seen any other Chinese person walk around. So it's a total two-tier society. But then also there's the issue of communal property. Like if you say, I want to raise my daughter and my sons a certain way, right? Because not in a sense of property, but because they are my children. The communist mindset would say, no, we get to raise your children with the values. Then you wanting to raise them on your own, in a sense, is the extremist position. Instead, you have to adopt all the positions of the party, of the people, right? And that's pure communism.
Well, America has been a communist country for at least 100 years, though, Will.
100 years. I would have bid lower. Okay, let's go.
America's been a communist country for at least a century. If you read Marx's Communist Manifesto and you read the 10 Planks of Communism, you have every element of communism that's been present. And it's been present so long that those 10 planks of communism from the mouth of the man himself, Karl Marx, are avidly defended by Americans, conservative Americans, patriotic Christians. The latest, Trump says, we need to get rid of the income tax and fund the country with tariffs. The libertarians go nuts, right? Everybody says, how dare you get rid of taxes, tariffs. Okay, read the Constitution. There was no direct income tax. And the federal government was founded by tariffs, imposts, excise taxes, and duties. So, for all your number Trumpers or people bagging on Trump for being whatever, Trump is more of a constitutionalist than all of them are. Because literally what he's saying is we have to go back to the Constitution. We have to fund the federal government, implying, explicitly that the federal government would have to shrink, without taxes, even though we know taxes are an inflationary curve, not actually funding the government.
Right.
But what he's proposing is a return to the Constitution. So if you think that's a bad idea and you call yourself pro-Constitution, you're actually not.
Yeah. This is the way communism is in everyone's bloodstream.
Subversion. It's absolute subversion. I remember in 2008, Sarah Palin says, it's an American value to pay your fair share of taxes.
Conserving what?
Right. But she's been brainwashed. Almost everybody is, to say, no, you paying your fair share of taxes, and being mad at people who don't pay any taxes because they're following the tax code.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a playbook, and you play by the rules. I don't think the government is charging me enough taxes. Okay, send them more money. Right? The celebrities say that, right? The federal government should be raising tax rates because I'm not paying enough tax and I'm a multimillionaire, or tax the rich. Well, who founds companies and who generates jobs? Rich people do, with money. So if you take all their money, they can't give you a job.
Well, instead we have a system that's animated by envy.
Right.
Right. If everything is supposed to be redistributed for us and someone has more, then we have a right to envy them.
Right. So if you take people with money and you take all the money away and you give the money to people that don't have it, then everybody's just one big featureless mass of bugs. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one gray featureless mass devoid of anything remarkable.
That's right.
Right. If everybody lives in the same house and drives the same car, wears the same clothes, and eats the same mashed potatoes, I love mashed potatoes, but if you eat the same thing every day, then life becomes boring. It becomes devoid of any joy or happiness or potential, because it's all predetermined. You can't do anything more. You can't rise above where you are. You're stuck where you are, and that's where you're going to be for the rest of your life. I mean, if that is attractive to you, then we have nothing in common.
And you can see the feminizing impulse in that instinct. Like, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
There's no risk in that lifestyle, because there's no danger of being apart from the crowd or being exposed or out there. You're right in the middle, right in the center of the herd. You're safe. Nothing can get to you because there are all these other people around you. And it's a very feminine way to live. And again, I love women, obviously. I've been married for 17 or 18 years. I have multiple children, but I'm not a woman. And you have to recognize as men that the feminine way of viewing the world is not the one that's going to make it successful. Every matriarchal society lives in a grass hut.
That's right. That's right. And, well, in fact, from my travels, I've seen that most societies around the world are actually matriarchal, though they may appear to be patriarchal on the outside. Actually, the home is run by like a dragon lady, essentially. So the culture is actually matriarchal, and they go nowhere while taking quite a lot of American and Western culture, which is we might say cosmically patriarchal, as in the actual, like, God the Father, male, right? And there's a reason behind that.
Well, using the word cosmically makes me remember the picture of the lady holding the sign, "Billions for space, none for the hungry."
Right.
Right? Where is this stupid toy? All you boys and your toys, you're just wasting money on this space garbage when there are hungry children here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we could have been on the moon and Mars if it wasn't for that. Right? NASA said, "Oh, they're hungry children. We have to feed the children," instead of reaching for the stars.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Reaching for the stars and all the technology that comes with the space program and all the side benefits and the wins and everything we get from reaching for the stars, they all are derivative down to make life on Earth better for everybody. All the technologies we had to invent to get into space is where we get satellites and telecommunications and the internet. And all of these things that we take for granted are from the space program or associated with the execution of the space program. It's what Elon Musk is doing with SpaceX. That is essential. We have to get to the stars. We were not made to be on this planet, the frontier. There's nowhere else to explore on the planet Earth.
That's right.
There's only one destination for the masculine values of exploration and risk and colonization and exploration, and that's space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So saying, "Oh no, you can't do all this stupid, tinker toy stuff because they're hungry." The poor will always be with us.
That's right.
We will never get rid of the poor. We have to reach for the stars because we have to see what is out there. If God created it, we need to go to what he's created because we can see the billions of stars, but we can't appreciate them in their full value and majesty unless we're in the middle of them. So,
And then, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I'm just saying that space to me is vitally important because it's created for our benefit. And if it's created and we are made in the image of God, we need to be there among the stars.